Okay, so question 9 here says, a tour company operates day trips for tourists by bus to parts of Ireland. The journey for one such day trip is shown in the graph below. This tour involves 2 short stops and 1 long stop for lunch and starts and ends at the same location. Okay, so distance from the starting point here. This is them going, and then when they start coming back down, it's just them getting closer and closer to their starting destination again. Okay, until they get back. So use this graph to answer the following questions. How long was this tour from start to end? Okay, so from 10 till 4 or from 10 till 16, okay, it's 6 hours. They don't want you to do loads of maths here. They literally put in one little box. Okay, it's 6 hours. The bus stopped for lunch between points where? Okay, so have a look there. Where are all the different places that the bus stopped? Okay, the bus stopped anytime that the distance wasn't changing. So from here to here, here to here, here to here. Okay. It says the 2 short stops are just 2 short stops, and the 1 long stop is the stop for lunch. Okay, so it's the long stop there that you have to give as your answer. So it's from E and F, between them 2 on the graph. Calculate the speed of the bus in kilometres per hour between points G and H on the graph. Okay, now G and H, the distance is changing. The bus is still moving at a speed. Okay, we need to figure out what that is. Now, as soon as they say the speed in kilometres per hour, okay, they have asked us to do something in particular, okay, and that is to have the distance units in kilometres, the time units in hours, okay. So we have been asked to find the speed. So remember our distance, speed, time triangle, distance, speed, time. Okay, they asked us to find speed. So we cover S and we see that we use distance over time. Okay, so I'm going to be filling in the formula that speed is distance over time, but getting my distance in kilometres and my time in hours. Okay, so between G and H, so between here and here, okay, what is the distance? So they go from 110 and 50, so they're travelling 60 kilometres towards home. Okay, so 60 kilometres towards home. And then my time is between here and here. Okay, so that is 2/3 of an hour. Okay, because there's 3 boxes between each hour, so it's 2/3 of an hour. I'm not going to change that into minutes, even though I know 2/3 of an hour is 40 minutes. Okay, I'm not going to change it into minutes because it wants my answer in kilometres an hour. So I want it to be in hours. Okay, so I am going to fill in there as the hours that it's 2/3 of an hour. Okay, then I'm just going to put it all in my calculator and see that it's 90 kilometres an hour. Okay, what's worth noting here, because some people wrote down 60 kilometres per 40 minutes. Okay, if you get 60 kilometres in 40 minutes, are you going to get more or less in the hour? So if I get 60 kilometres in 40 minutes, I'm expecting a number larger here than 60. Okay, so some people wrote down that you get 60 kilometres in 40 minutes and then they ended up with a smaller number per hour. Okay, but remember, if you get 60 kilometres in a part of an hour, then within the full hour, you're going to get a further distance. Okay, so it's 60 kilometres an hour was the final answer there. Okay, and then it says, during which of the following segments is the bus travelling the slowest? Tick the correct answer and give a reason for your answer. Okay, so from A to B is here. From D to E is here. And from I to J is here. Okay, now we looked at speed and how it looks on a graph when we were doing a bit of calculus. okay? And we saw that basically the closer to horizontal the line is, the closer to stopping it is, okay? We know a horizontal line means a stop, okay? And really steep lines mean a higher speed, okay? Whereas less of a slope, like here, is a slower speed, okay? So I can see just by looking at my graph that D to E has much less of a slope, okay? So I know that it's going to be from D to E, okay? It wants a reason, okay? So my reasoning here is that it's basically the least steep of all these slopes, okay? That is a perfectly good reason to say from why D to E is the slowest, okay? It is the least steep of all those three slopes, or all the three line segments that are being looked at, okay? If you want to say something like it is slow, or it moves, let's say 10 kilometers in 2/3 of an hour, 10 kilometers in 40 minutes, okay? That's not saying why it's the slowest. We could have a line up here that only moves 5 kilometers in 40 minutes, okay? So if your reasoning is information about D and E, it has to be D and E in comparison to one of the other two, okay? So if between D and E you're saying something like it's a very small distance covered, okay, it's a small distance covered, but you could cover a very small distance, let's say when the graph, if there was another bus moving and it moved like this, okay, a distance of 10 and then a distance of 25, okay? This line here isn't as steep, so it's slower, but it moves a further distance, okay? So it's not enough for you to say it moves less distance, okay? Because you can move less distance but move faster, okay? I could run 5 kilometers, okay, and that is faster than if I walk 10 kilometers, even though 5 is a smaller distance, okay? So it's not enough to just talk about distance here, okay? It wants the slowest, so it wants speed. You could find each of the speeds. You could find speed from A to B, you could find speed from D to E, and speed from I to J. Some people done that, and that was lovely, okay? But really, just quickest way of getting full marks here, okay, is that D to E has the least steep of the three, okay? That's the key here. It's the least steep of the three segments, or line segments.